All right, guys. So here we are. It's the same shit on a different day. And today we're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to have my brother in here, and he's going to help with some of the technical aspects. And, maybe jump in on the discussion. And that's what we're going to try to do anyway. And, basically a test run for the first podcast that we're going to do. And, the first point that we wanted to come to you guys with was this, that COVID is boring. And especially COVID is boring compared to these race riots that we're seeing, because that's what they are. They're race riots. And I had made a video that said that civil war was upon us, and that maybe it was civil war. And then people disagreed, and they said that it wasn't. So,
Well,
maybe...
I might be in that camp. The idea, to me, seems to be cops versus everyone else.
Right.
They seem to be trying to deconstruct this idea that we need a police force, and they're trying to possibly implement their own. Something along, what was that movie, RoboCop, where they had
OCP.
Yeah. So,
OCP, that's right.
it sounds totally ridiculous until, a few years from now where they're trying to sell armed guards
Right.
to the highest bidder.
Yeah, Ed 209. See, what I was saying is that OCP, whenever I watched that movie in like 1986 or 87, RoboCop, that was predictive programming to me. I knew that someday they were going to privatize the police force, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Blackwater cops. And then there will be no oversight anymore.
So okay, well, it's not. We have a couple topics that we were trying to discuss, but don't get too far.
I jump.
So let's start with the inciting incident. So George Floyd.
Right.
So this video that we found, and it's not ours, but we're just gonna go through to show what the whole topic, the whole reason that this stuff is happening at all is because this guy was held accountable for, what was it? He wrote a bad check or something?
I think my son said that he wrote a bad check.
Okay, so for whatever reason, that was enough to get however many police officers out on the scene. And then this video, you should watch it. It's Washington Post. But anyway, the officer that started this whole thing placed his knee on this man's neck for 8 minutes, I believe they say, in the video. Mm-hmm. So it's a very long time.
Right. It makes it seem like to me that whenever they started showing it, we watched the video, but whenever they started, they had a CCTV outside of across the street there, if you'll notice, and there wasn't anybody on. There was only a couple of people, right? By the time that guy was done with the 8 minutes on the neck, there was a crowd of people. So it seems like they waited for everybody to jump around to get in there, with their cameras on, and So I don't know.
Well, okay, but I mean, it's suspicious at most, right?
Right. At least. At least.
So, this is the inciting incident. So, and what's interesting is where people run with it. Like, so okay, we'll go to the next one.
Right.
So anyway, lots of coverage because now the rioting and all this looting and crazy shit's happening, and we're 24 hours away. How long has it been?
Since all of this started?
Since the riots started.
Oh, well, a couple of 3 days, basically.
Okay. So it's been going for a little bit, but they're even talking about doing it here, which is just freaking bizarre.
Well, they're having a march here, actually.
Okay, but I mean, when you think of like the population of Arkansas, what percentage is even black? It's
not that much.
It's got to be low.
It is.
So it's very weird that it seems like white people.
There are a lot of coupled whites going out there and running. They think. Listen, man. Whenever people don't live around another, say whenever white folks don't really live around a lot of blacks, and the only time they ever see them was whenever they run into their nice little black person that works with them or whatever, then it's easy to be cool with everybody. Then it's easy to say, yeah, black lives do matter and all that. But boy, I tell you what, you live in ground zero with me in LA and San Diego, and it's not so easy. It's real easy for me to see how that people would be like not trusting of people of color.
I watched your video, and it's both hilarious, sad, and ridiculous. All of it.
Which one?
The Black Lives Dragger.
Oh, Black Lives Dragger. Okay. I love that one. That was a great one.
I don't know. It's truly outrageous. But the point is...
No, it's sad. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that.
Here's the thing. The last time that riots happened and a semi driver pulled over, He got beat to death.
Right.
He got beat severely. So, and that's probably in a lot of truck drivers' minds.
Right. No, I'm sure that was paramount in his mind whenever they were banging on it. They brandished weapons.
Yeah, scaring
I mean,
shit.
I didn't show the entire video. I just, showed what I could and or what I had. And anyway, they were pointing guns at him and tapping on the windows and whatnot.
Look, you jump on my truck and in a threatening manner. I don't care what's behind me. I'm just going.
Yeah. Pedal to the metal, bruh.
Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna.
And so, here's what was so ridiculous about the whole thing. That's why I put it up. You know me, dual meaning on everything. Okay, this has got multiple meanings, but it is peculiar to me that they wanted to show the firearms. They wanted to act tough with Whitey in the truck. Okay, all that. Then you're gonna see that. But then, whenever he started going. Okay. Then they thought that they could call timeout and say, "Oh, timeout!
What are you doing?
Oh, what are you doing?" And then they were still banging and still yelling. I mean, this guy is in the cab in the truck. He didn't know.
He was
that,
not thinking clearly.
I would have been clearly thinking, to run their asses over
Well, yeah.
and then back up. But that's just me. You know what I mean? That's why I don't drive trucks.
Anymore.
Yeah, right.
No, but the point is like you can't expect.
I haven't driven a truck since I got out of that FedEx truck the other night.
Yeah.
There was nothing left of that guy.
Well, I mean, he took him with him, so we'll never know.
That's right. He got federally expressed.
All right. So okay, so what does all this mean? What's happening is like, okay, so we had COVID for what, 3 months? How long is
Basically.
whatever, and it's boring, right? Nobody cares
Absolutely.
anymore.
I mean, I got tired of making videos about it.
The death counts, nobody cares, and nobody
it
nobody
doesn't
believes
matter.
it.
No.
It doesn't. It's fake.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to the next exciting thing, but the narrative here is important because I think that's the underlying tone of what's going on. Is they really want us to hate and remove these cops, like remove those forces and implement. What were you saying earlier?
Like Blackwater is in the Middle East over there. We started using Blackwater operatives and paid private pay, okay, rather than our own troops. And boy, that causes a lot of trouble. There's no oversight anymore whenever you do something like that. It's just a closed door operation.
Doesn't it become like we already know that like whoever has the most money and power controls the shit anyway, right? But when it's literally the dollar that controls what your cops are doing, or not just cops, operatives, right?
Right, operatives.
Right, totally different.
Yeah, see, at least cops are supposed to serve.
Right,
and
I
protect.
mean, there's a theme there, right?
Yeah, well,
some people grow up and maybe their dad was a cop and they aspire to be.
And then they met a nice cop, or the cop let them off the hook.
They aspire to be a good person.
Right, I don't think that all cops are.
Of course not.
Now, do I look at the overall narrative that of police being good guys that we should all trust? Well, hell no. I mean,
of course not.
I'm with everybody on that doesn't believe that.
Look, okay, so here, we can talk about this. Do you think Floyd died? Do you think that's real?
Oh, do I think the whole thing's a hoax to begin with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a whole.
Okay, so he did not die.
No, nobody died. Nobody got hurt. Period.
I don't know if I agree.
See, it was a totally scripted event, in my opinion.
I think there's an inciting incident, and then they program with media and all the shit that they have at their disposal,
right.
and citizens or people or us or whoever run with the narrative and then do all the legwork.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. And I can always get away with being one of those guys that says nobody died, nobody got hurt. I can always do that because I have the liberty of saying this. It doesn't matter if it was a hoax or not. The shit was shot, and then even if it was a hoax or even if it was real, the media is going to run with it exactly the same. They're going to push the narrative precisely how they would have, whether or not it was.
We can talk about that because cops are being blamed for the instigation of peaceful looting and rioting is kind of like this narrative that's being set in place. So we'll show a little bit of this. I don't want to get in trouble, like flagged and stuff. But anyway, so
not on our first try.
The overall theme is like all the okay, if you look for, all the looting and stuff that's going and occurring, it's pretty hard to find in comparison to all these cops doing horrendous, horrible things. Like the cops are just prime evil, and all these looters that are like burning facilities down and robbing and looting all these shops, and people crying on the news about working on a business their entire lives and now it's just gone. So, but that narrative is being pushed so
All right,
hard.
so here's what I hear you saying. And correct me if I'm wrong. Here's what I hear. 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 Here's what I hear The mainstream media pushes a certain narrative, which you just discussed, that the police are, instigating this kind of thing by pushing citizens and spraying them in the face with stuff with, unsubstantiated violence and whatnot, all right? And that the media that's not mainstream, like me and other people, are blaming it on blacks and blaming it on minorities and cuckold whites. And so both of those are pretty big. A lot of people go to the mainstream media for their news, but a lot of people come to little crappy sites like mine, and and that's millions and millions of people that are
I don't
watching
disagree with that. All I'm saying is like the amount of work and effort. Well, maybe I don't know. People that control this possibly have to go through extreme, effort to get that.
Absolutely, they do.
But what I'm saying is in order to come across your video as opposed to coming across like Washington Post and all this, it's all over. The algorithms take care of it, man.
Yeah.
And like all your videos and stuff, I've seen a few get flagged and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
or taken down.
Sure.
What was the video of the black guy beating the old man?
Oh,
that shit is impossibly hard to find.
Absolutely, I know that. You know that
it's not even talked about.
I got a strike for that, putting that up. But I put it right back up. I just, me, I don't
Good.
care.
But the problem here is that like all the police doing whatever is just all over every front page.
So that kind of goes along with what you were saying, that they want to privatize the cops, and maybe in the end they want to have UN foot soldiers on the ground.
That's
here.
What I think.
I think that.
I think they want to get rid of.
Right. No, look, it's all about bringing down the United States. And I don't really care what anyone... You know what? I get a lot of people that want to act like that something's wrong with me because I'm still a patriot and I still love my country. Boy, they must have something flowing through their veins that is a little bit different than mine, because I'll reiterate, I don't think that whenever I look at the flag, I don't see a white face just sitting there and it's the evil empire like I'm in front of the Rage Against the Machine album. I don't see that. I just see the people that like I've said before, whenever I walk out my door with my coffee in the morning and I wave across the street to my neighbors, okay, and they're out there doing the same, smoking a cigarette and drinking their coffee early in the morning before we go to work. That's America. And then when I get to my job, and then whenever people hold doors for me, and whenever people say yes sir and no sir and hey brother and all, that's America. And black, white, a lot of people do this, okay? So that's America to me. Well, I'm not seeing America in these news reports. I'm not seeing. No, this is not
even.
I'm not going to be.
What I'm seeing is the operatives that are being used to like show how horrendous this is. A good video. So I don't know the specifics, but anyway, as you can read, cops sneaked up to confiscate and destroy water and supplies for peaceful protesters.
See?
And so these are
good.
not
What
cops.
You're telling me? Good people just brought all that in, and
these are not cops. This is insane. Those guys are. Oh my god, they're not even wearing garb. Now the rioters are apparently protecting them. That's odd, but it's so fake. Like there's no way that this was sanctioned.
Everything is staged for the media, staged for the cameras. And that was what I was saying about the black dude getting, with a knee on the back of the neck. And I don't think it's any coincidence that they used the knee to the back of the neck, because Colin Kaepernick had put his knee down, okay? And then this guy puts his knee down and it kills a person, supposedly. It kills a person, okay?
You just don't
purportedly. I just don't believe it. But even if it did, all right, let's just pretend like it happened, all right?
I think it holds more weight if it did. So like they don't care. Them, I think they couldn't possibly care less who dies as long as it gets the outrage that it's constantly going to get.
Absolutely. And I think that people like me may be pouring, and everyone else that does this, I might be pouring a little bit too much into race into this. But and divide and conquer tactics that they use. They're the ones that showed us. The mainstream media is the one that has poured this out, so much so that we have riots across the entire planet, okay? And protests and riots. Every major city in the world now is having these. It's not just America anymore. Mm-hmm. And so if that's true, then they're the ones that push that. Okay, I didn't push it. My little tiny YouTube channel didn't push it.
No, of course not.
So they're the ones that are doing it. So if I can't speak on race after they showed it to me, then what's the hell is the deal? And like I said, that narrative of taking a knee is now changed, because I've already seen tweets and Instagram posts where black people are saying, they're holding up a sign that says, Kaepernick's knee didn't cost anyone their lives, and then shows that cuckold police officer. Okay. See, so do you see how they equate things? It's always they use them, and they do things way forward of the events that are played out later, and then everybody thinks they remember. Oh man, I remember that.
With no doubt in my mind, I see, and it's very clearly orchestrated. There's no debating that. I'm not even trying to. What I do think is that why incite it? Why? What's the overall goal?
To drop this country to its knees,
You're
so that
goddamn
one
right.
world order can come in.
You're goddamn right. And I think what they're doing is preparing and normalizing martial law.
Absolutely.
Right fucking here.
Absolutely.
If this video, forget
this
where.
is a good one.
Well, it's just interesting. So like, military, and then like obviously the riot gear people. But anyway, going down the streets, and then they're screaming people to get in their house because of curfew, and these people are in their porch or whatever. Right. Choose not to go inside. You know, they are screaming, go inside, and they chose not to. So take of that what you will, but then they open fire on them with rubber bullets.
Right.
So they're normalizing this. This is a thing that's happening.
And they had been since the Boston bombing, well, way before that, but let's just, people remember that. Remember, it looked just like that scene in the Boston bombing, and they were going around looking for the Timerin guy, the guy that was on the cover of Time magazine, by the way. I mean, Anyway, they had that going, and they showed the pictures and the videos of those cops going through the Boston neighborhoods, and it was basically looked like martial law, going door to door, looking for the Tamerlan brothers or whatever they were called, and it looked just like what we saw there, except for they didn't fire on anyone back then. But now they're doing, just like you said, they're firing out. They're normalizing martial law. They really, really are. And listen, there are video clips, and we don't have them here, and we could have found them, but just take my word for it and look into it. There are thousands of tanks being taken into the streets of all the major U.S. cities. They're getting ready to lock this place down.
Well, and then here's what I truly believe.
And over nothing, because most people aren't doing anything. 99% of people are still sitting in their houses watching this on TV and watching this on their Twitter feeds.
They really wanted COVID to keep people locked away in their houses for the last however many months. And so since that's clearly not working, people are ready to go back out. This was like a melting pot, just ready to explode, really. So, like, whenever people got tired of sitting in their homes because there's nothing to be afraid of, they had, the race wars start and all this crazy shit.
They had it all. Man, you're right. They had it all scripted. I mean, and we had
that timing is too perfect.
Boy, it is. And just the week prior to this black man's death, there was, purportedly, there was a real beating from that 20-year-old guy that I always harp on my site.
Zero discussion, man.
And zero discussion, zero national. It was
not like this.
Man, this went
is being
crazy.
purported.
I made a video on it. Normally, whenever I make a video on something, I'm out a couple, 3 days ahead of it because I'm that guy. You know what I mean? I'm ferreting out information. Not this time. In fact, I think I was a little behind the curve. I mean, some people had me beat. Yeah. So it's like, if that happens, then somebody's pushing, because I'm always on top of things faster than anybody else. But not this time. Not this time. I was behind the curve by a few hours.
So okay, you're the prediction master. What's next? I think COVID 2.
COVID 2?
I think they reintroduce a new scary.
Yeah. Okay, prediction.
A more deadly virus, perhaps.
See, that gets scary, because if I go into all the Hopi Indian stuff and all the predictions from the Bible and all that, but now personally, what do I think is next on the agenda for them?
Well, okay, all right, answer this then.
All right.
How long do the race wars and all the rioting and all this, how long does that last? If we only got 3 months out of a global pandemic.
Right. Then what is this particular?
What does race wars do?
Well, riot. So far, they're still staying with a narrative that cops are bad and Black Lives Matter and okay, that's pretty low level stuff. But when those military start hitting the streets for real, and then we start getting video of military doing shit, it's going to be a little bit different. So it'll continue. I say we have this for the whole summer.
The rest of the summer?
Oh, yeah, easily into the fall, and then they'll hit us with, when it starts getting colder again, and they know they can, because, see, no virus lives in the, me, hoax, but let's just go with what they said. No virus can live in the wintertime like that. I mean, most people don't get sick like that, okay? But no, in the summer, I'm sorry, but they will. They will continue with this all summer long, and then through the fall, and then they're going to hit us with COVID, the redo. You know, the Redux.
Redux.
Yeah, they're
Version
going to hit
2.0.
that. Yeah, look for that around 10th, 11th month of the year. Because you can't stay in on this, the race stuff either. People grow tired of this stuff too. It's not going to do anything. Nobody's going to do anything.
Of course not.
I am not personally going to go and go door to door with about 50 or 100 of my people, my brothers, and I'm not going to put jack boots on and go into people's homes and take them out in the streets and shoot them on the heads. I mean, I'm not going to do that. So, you know, I mean, it would take an act of God to make people go out and do stuff like that. Now, the black people were saying, if you did listen, they did say, we're coming on the very first night of the Minneapolis riots. And I don't know if those guys were agents, provocateur. I don't know. But they did say, multiple of them said, we're coming to the suburbs. We're coming to get you. We're going to be there for you next. Do you think we're just going to burn our own communities down?
Well, that's all they're doing, though.
See, of course. But I'm still waiting for them to come to my house to burn it down.
Yeah, they're in trouble for... Okay, here's the thing. So the military vehicles and all this, they're in so much shit if they actually attack people that quote-unquote matter. Like, the fact that they're attacking their own, you know, neighborhoods and all this and places that they shop, which is so goofy. 'Cause, like, they'll burn down all these facilities that they're going to need if it ever returned to normalcy.
Right. Somebody had told me, that line right there is good, the line you're going down, because somebody had told me, and I had read, that George Soros, in fact, owned AutoZone. And then we saw pictures of the guy going through there and breaking the windows out of the AutoZone. It looked like an agent, and he was breaking the AutoZone. No, of course. If this is all a setup, then George said, yeah, go to AutoZone, go to Target, break those places, burn those places, loot those places. You know, the cops will pull back and give you all the cameras will be on, and you'll be able to do whatever you want within the confines.
I just find
it'll
it
be
funny.
A safe space for black people. Always need their safe spaces, and they're getting it.
I think it's interesting that the inciting incident was a guy that wrote a bad check or something. I don't know the specifics. I'm sorry, but anyway, and got murdered by quote unquote with a knee to the neck for 8 minutes or however long.
That's right.
And then literal rioting and all this stuff is just. Well, let them have at it until they hit a place that matters. I think until they go after the wrong person.
Right, and people don't get this. You hit on something right there. Remember in they said police stations in Minneapolis. All right, okay, those were precincts. They were not the main police, station. It was just precincts in the city. They didn't go to the main police station and burn it down. No, they led everybody, and it's real easy to make the cattle go through the streets any way you want to, okay? And they led them to the point, and they kept backing up until they hit that precinct, and then they let them have that precinct to burn down. So people across the country and around the world would say, oh, they're burning police stations down. That's not true. That's not true. This is the biggest hoax I've ever seen. It makes COVID and 9/11 and all of them look like a joke.
Man, 9/11's a goat. Like that's gonna go in history.
It woke most people up. If you were gonna be woken, then you would have gotten woken if you were alive and old enough.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Some of the people I've worked with and stuff over the years, and they don't even know what 9/11 was.
Right, a lot of people don't.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's so true, dude.
But,
well, you know what? I'm looking at this, and I'm past anger, and I'm.
For me, it's never anger. It's understanding. I always want to know motive.
That's what I mean. I haven't been angry in a long time. It's more disappointed in everyone.
That it just reoccurs.
Yeah, and nobody ever sees it. It just I
think people do, but what do you do?
Well, that's true.
Quite literally, what do we do?
Well,
you do call to arms and all this craziness.
See, but that's not in the end. I mean. Look, I'll guard places, and I'll go with my friends, and we'll hold the place down with AR-15s.
See, I think that's what's next. I think with all the, they're gonna take guns. They're gonna push,
Really, you think that they're gonna segue into that?
Well, going with the martial law bullshit,
right?
They will. Who knows how? Who knows when? And who knows if it'll be successful? But I think they'll make a huge push to take back guns and stuff like that.
Ah, yeah. After this. Possibly, the next push will be like whenever they have us on lockdown during COVID Redux. I think they're going to hit us with a lot of propaganda because they're going to have all this beautifully packaged and ready to show the captive crowd in the wintertime, look at what happened. Look at, like, what they always do, the end of the year reviews on YouTube, Facebook, ABC News and all that shit. Well, they're going to do one on 2020 that 2020 the year, not 2020 the TV show. Probably that show too. But they're going to have it, and they're going to show us one of the most insane mashups of a year that we have ever seen in our lives. Starting with Kobe's death in January, and then right out of that with the COVID stuff, and then right into the race war stuff, and then right into...
I mean, that's not even everything. Bill Gates was
stepped
talking
down from Microsoft on the 13th, March the 13th.
So it's been nuts. Like, a lot of like the big global players have been moving around, making moves.
Sure, they all knew it was coming down the pipe.
Of course, I understand. But what I'm saying is like, what is it? The chips, the implant chips they want to do, and then there's a lot of little conspiracy theories going on there too. A lot of people discussing all the things that Bill's been pushing down the. I wanted to talk about Bezos because I feel like he's up there too.
Oh yeah, hey, just real quick, man, and you can come back to anything you want. I want to tell everybody about Jeff Bezos. You remember that he had got a divorce from his wife for messing with some ugly prostitute or fat pig, right, or whatever she was. Now, this is a funny story, but it isn't. I think that was a big joke and a lie. He didn't divorce, even if he did divorce his wife, that was a way for them to keep that. If he was worth $150 million and she supposedly took, 150 billion, and she took 75 billion of his money, right? Yeah. Nah. She was with him from the beginning, and it was all set up, and he looked like, oh, poor Jeff lost half his wealth, and nah. It's a bullshit. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. That's just Conspiracy Jack coming out. I just want to get that out.
That's what we'll call this.
Somebody bring that up in the comments so I can discuss it with you.
We'll call this podcast Conspiracy Jack.
Yeah, Conspiracy Jack. That's what it's, Conspiracy Jackass.
Yeah.
That's what Mom would call me.
Yeah.
That's what she does call me. But anyway, guys, we've been going and going on here about a half hour now. And we didn't really know what we were going to do with this. We just wanted, me and my brother, we always have discussions and talks like this all the time. And we are trying to hash out how we could do this. And we have a real good, rapport together and back and forth and banter. And he knows how to get underneath my skin and I can get underneath his. So we can do that with each other. And we don't always agree on everything.
I think that's kind of like the point is
yeah.
I don't want to take the the opposite side of every point you make, because I often agree with a lot of what you say,
right.
And how you usually do way more research than I do, way infinitely more research than I do. But I still don't always like taking the point of everything's a hoax.
Right. See, that's me right there.
I innately want to at least see both sides of the story.
No, and that's why I like talking to you.
No matter how wrong one side is, I at least want to know why they say those things.
That's precisely why I love talking to you and why we have always done this through the years, and on television shows and on movies and on music. We could do a podcast about anything we wanted to, and that's what we're going to do. This particular one is about race and about the riots and about
that's what's popping. So.
Right. But that's not how everything's going to go. You might tune into this particular podcast. Conspiracy Jack is what it's going to be called, I guess. That's this episode. That's funny.
Maybe we'll just title it that.
Yeah, we'll title it that. But no. What I'm saying is that this one is on what we're discussing here for the last 30 minutes. The next one could be on video games and the ma'am that went in there and
that's coming out. The 17th? That's coming out. And he made a huge apology too. We don't need to get into it. Maybe we'll talk about it next time.
All right, we will.
It's all very funny.
We're gonna do one of these a week. And we're going to record them on Sundays because that's the only day that me and him have off.
And the same day off.
On the same day. So that's what we're going to do. But you know what, guys? That's what we had come to you today with. And I'm exiting out of this. But now my brother, he might have a few last words for you. But I just want to leave you with this. Everybody know that this is a hoax. I know you hate that, bro. But know that all of this is just a huge hoax on everyone. And I know I talk a lot of crazy shit on my website, on my YouTube channel there, Jack Torrance. And everybody needs to find that. And I know it's on here, but please spread this because this could do good for everyone. A little bit of humor in a bad time. Because whenever I see this, if I'm honest with myself, I'd rather laugh than cry. You know what I mean? This is really bad. And I don't like seeing people
Well-
get drugged by trucks. And I don't, human beings, okay? I know what that black bastard was out there trying to do, scare the white man and just, you know, create, he was an agent of chaos.
Yeah, but how? I think that illustrates the point. It's so misguided.
Yes.
He was trying to scare the FedEx truck driver.
Right. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. I fully understand, but it's just so misguided, and I think that's the big, huge problem is that this inciting incident, real or not, has generated all this craziness that really is just deconstructive. It doesn't really help anything.
Absolutely, man. I agree.
And I think there's agenda behind it. Like,
Absolutely. You know I do. But, you know, and to say everything's a hoax and then to go in the next breath and say that there's an agenda behind it, you have to kind of detach your brain into two spots. But no, truly, you can put it all together by saying, well, yes, there's an agenda afoot. And the reason for it is, the reason that you can get an agenda like that out is because you have had all these hoaxes stacked on top of each other for decades and decades and decades. And you have your Tavistocks and all the organizations that are funding your think tanks, okay? And these people that sit around tables all day long and their only job is to, how can we make the Goyim fight? How can we make them? Yeah. I mean, that's what their job is, bro. So
I honestly think it's not too complicated. They can get us to fight about it.
Right, apparently. But no, and I'm saying to you that 150 years ago, when people out on the farm, they didn't have much to fight about. But nowadays, because there wasn't 50 different pairs of tennis shoes you could choose from, and 900. I like iPhone. Well, I like Apple. I like what is the other one called? Samsung. I like this. I like that. I like that. And you just keep fighting over. And I've seen people fight over earphones and who's the best. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, like I said, 150 years ago, you would not have had this problem because there simply wasn't. I mean, guys.
Well, more community. People were, more dependent on each other. Now people are taught to be secluded. They're taught to be, stay away from your enemy, stay away from everything.
Somebody dropped a comment in my thing. I thought you'd like it. It said, because one of my videos was named White Flight, and somebody put on there that White Flight was the OG of social distancing.
Oh, Jesus.
Social distancing extraordinaire. White Flight. I want away from everyone.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this one garners attention and comments. So
well, that's what we're looking for is comments and stuff like that. So if you guys will leave a comment in the comment section, that's what we're going to do. This is what we'll start doing. Leave us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Obviously, it's disjointed. I mean, it's not as bad as it usually is because I got my brother in here, and he's not a disjointed person. It's me that's disjointed. So
I always like scripting. This is not scripted, but what I do like is creating, a point by point.
Right.
Where
Instead
you
of just
wanna
going
go.
off the cuff like your brother. He learned that from me. He does that because I am so unscripted that it's like ridiculous, but I get away with it because I'm a very talented individual.
Well, the problem with it is that I love your conversations. I enjoy them, but it's like 4-hour endeavors.
Yeah, they are.
Sometimes
we didn't record anything for these guys yet, but this is just our initial launch. We're they have no idea what they're in store for if they really get to hear some of the stuff we talk about.
Well, I'm curious what's in store for us. I mean, this is still the beginning of all this.
That's true.
I'd say we got a couple months out of the riots.
Yeah, and we'll look at that like that, and we'll bring in other things. But the riots are going to be very popular, so we'll record some on the riot. I mean, not even just popular, and that's not even a reason to do anything. But we are going to talk about what's up in the media and what's up in people's minds and what's up in all these things, right? Well, the riots are first and foremost on everyone, and mine and yours included, of course.
I mean, it's literally happening in Arkansas, in the most, I would say, least affected area.
Absolutely. We were the last in the COVID stuff. We didn't never go on lockdown.
No,
basically, life was the same as it ever was.
I didn't even stop working.
I didn't even have to wear a mask once.
No.
See?
Well, I chose
and I wouldn't have, anyway.
They tried to get me to wear one in a restaurant. They tried to sell me one. I was like, nah, I'll just go.
Yeah, no, me and my boy, we went to lunch and they were like, masks, like, we'll sit outside. And we did. And they let us.
Good.
Yeah.
And this is ridiculous. Because the whole point would be, like, let's assume it's all real. Let's assume that's totally real. If you took the damn mask off to eat, you would still be, and then sitting at the tables with all these other people, it's still all completely irrelevant.
It's just a way to take people's...
I think it's to normalize it. I think they want people to get, into yes man territory where it's like, whatever they say, I'll do. Whatever they want.
And to defame people and to marginalize people and to take away their soul. Whenever you put a mask on someone, that's what you're doing, in my opinion. But that's just me. That's deep, Jack. You know, we didn't get into much of that, and we don't need to.
Well, we got time. We'll do it again next week.
All right, same bat channel, same bat time.
All right, see you guys.